You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 33. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. Hello, beautiful people. How is everyone this week? I am busy over here making plans for the Others Day brunch that I'm planning here in Chicago on Saturday, May 7th. It is going to be so much fun. It's being professionally catered by Lisa's Boutique Catering, and I have had businesses proactively reach out to me and offer to donate gifts because they are just in love with the mission of the Others Day brunch. So if you're scratching your head and wondering what it is actually a brunch that I am hosting for anyone who's feeling sadness or loss around Mother's Day. And it is not just closed off to women with infertility. I welcome anyone who might be feeling a tinge of dread about Mother's Day. Maybe you've lost your mom, or you never had a mom you celebrated. Maybe you're not physically able to spend Mother's Day this year with your mom. Maybe you've yet to have children and hope that one day that will come. Or maybe just like me, you always dreamed of becoming a mom and you just never were able. So if any of this resonates with you, join us. It's only $20 and brunch is included in that $20. RSVPs are required and we only have a limited number of seats. I did a video on my Instagram this weekend showing you the room we are hosting it in, and it's going to be fabulous. Beautiful room on the 25th floor of a high-rise building overlooking some of the beautiful views of Chicago. Make sure you reserve your seat. You can go to stitchcoaching.com/othersday. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Or if you use Eventbrite, you can find the Others Day brunch on Eventbrite. If you're outside of Chicago and you're loving the sounds of this, I invite you to be one of my ambassadors. Just message me and I will chat with you about putting together a local event. Time permitting, I will get you gifts to share with your ladies that will be brunching with you outside of Chicago. So this week, we just started National Infertility Awareness Week. This is a whole movement and a community out there working very hard to raise awareness about infertility and to normalize the conversation about infertility and basically just allow anyone that's feeling challenged to have a family, regardless of their race, color, religion, sexuality, economic status, a national movement working to unite millions of Americans that want to remove the stigmas and the barriers that stand in the way of building families. I am all over this. I love it because I truly believe that there are a lot of people out there that lack awareness about infertility. They don't know where to seek treatment. They don't know how to seek treatment. They don't know if they are eligible for treatment through their insurance providers. So if there's an opportunity to build awareness and get people educated earlier and allow them to be more proactive about creating a family, I love it. But that said, there's another side of that coin to the National Infertility Awareness Week. There is a large community that did seek treatment and they did do all that they could, yet we're still here living with an infertility diagnosis and living without children. And I definitely do not want anyone to be confused and think that I am bashing what this week is about. I think it's wonderful, and I am extremely supportive of building awareness around infertility. But this other side of the infertility diagnosis holds women who are feeling as though living childless, not by choice, is not being showcased. And the statistics are clear that not everyone seeking infertility treatments will go home with a child. So I understand this belief of misrepresentation is because the community is not being represented as a whole. there is opportunity to tell the stories of what life ends up like for women like us that are childless after infertility. And many are feeling shunned and as if their voice doesn't matter. These women are aware. They know the statistics. They lived the reality of infertility treatments and are just trying to navigate their next steps and asking themselves, so now what? So this week, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to have your voice heard. And it all starts with telling your story. And there's someone out there wishing that they knew they weren't alone, but they just have not heard your story yet because your story matters. Many of you are thinking easy for you to say, Lana, you're an open book. I just decided that I would use my experiences and my story in the hopes that if only one person would hear it and not feel the loneliness and isolation I felt for years after my fertility treatments ended, I could make a difference. So it's no wonder that there's just a lack of voice around our community because it's super hard for us to share our stories. And it's hard to put in words what we were feeling and what we went through and the heartache that we woke up every day feeling. And for those who've gone through fertility treatments and weren't able to have kids, there's this oftentimes a stigma. And I think that we create this for ourselves because we're embarrassed to tell our stories. We have shame around ourselves and we have shame for our body not doing what we thought that they were designed to do or what we believe they were intended to do because we were born female. And so what I want to encourage with everyone this week is to take this opportunity as National Infertility Awareness Week is amongst us to tell your story. And you don't need to go out and put it on a megaphone and present your innermost secrets of what you've gone through to a group of strangers, but maybe just start to put your story down on paper. Have it be for you. And imagine you were the hero of your infertility story. What would you tell me about you and the life that you're living despite not being able to become a mom? Could you just start the rough draft of that story? And then when you're ready to share it with somebody and you're ready to tell it, tell me what it would sound like if you were proud of who you were today. So if we hear crickets when it comes to living your life childless after infertility, it's because there are just not enough of us proving them wrong. It's a community that's not being represented the way that we believe it should be. And that's up to us to make the difference in this space and for us to take the space up in the room and lead the conversation about what life can look like if fertility treatments didn't work for you. And I'm proud to say that I decided to take as much space up in the room every day that I possibly can and tell my story publicly. I've been doing it for years. I literally just 33 weeks ago, episode 1 of the So Now What podcast is when I first told my story publicly. And I'm astonished by the messages and the comments and those of you that are listening that reach out and tell me how hearing my story has helped you believe differently about yours. And I want you to know that you do not have to be the victim of your story. And the only way that we're going to continue to make this community bigger is for us to represent what it is like to be a woman without children. And a woman who's living and breathing and a powerful woman that failed infertility treatments but decides that she will not look at herself as a failure. And I'm telling you this because I once was so embarrassed to even talk about the fact that I was seeking fertility treatments. I mean, I kept it a secret. My first few rounds, I told very few people that I was even going through IVF. I was embarrassed to tell people that I tried and fertility treatments didn't work for me. And that was something that was so hard for me to feel comfortable telling people. So my point is today that the ability to talk about it and to share my story with others has just been such a weight that's lifted off of me that offers me an opportunity to feel gratitude and pride, knowing that my story of sadness and failure can have been one that reshaped the hope for somebody else. And you have the opportunity to do the same. You are no different than me. So choose words that tell the story that will end in courage, and decide that you can represent a bigger subset of women that just have yet to get to our point in the journey. So as we're looking around at National Infertility Awareness Week and believing that we don't see pictures of women that look like us, or hear the stories of women like us who didn't have insurance coverage and still scraped together to pay out of pocket for our treatments, or how about the women that went through 7 rounds of IUI and 4 rounds of IVF and a few canceled cycles sprinkled in there? Start to carve out the opportunity for us to be recognized so that people know that we exist. Give women hope that they can go through infertility treatments and not have a child and still love their life. So that is my ask of you this week. Start to write your story and be prepared for the day that you're ready to tell it to somebody and have yourself be the hero of your infertility story. And if you're feeling that's way too much for you to do, then I'd love for you to book a discovery call with me, and I will help you just at least get some words down on paper and some questions going to ask of yourself to start writing that story for you. Don't forget the Others Day, May 7th. If you're in Chicago, please join us. If you're not in Chicago and want to be ambassador, I would love for you to join our mission. So have an awesome week, and remember, it is never too late to discover your meaning.